August in one of the hottest, driest summers we've ever seen. It's 114 today, and we haven't had rain since March, so it's been like 5 months since we had any rain. Check out this guy. This is a Moringa tree that I planted from seed last March, so it's only a year and a half old, and it is, I don't know, 15 feet tall, and this is grown from seed, and it is just not bothered by this heat or lack of rain at all. Since the rain barrel is dry, I reel out the hose every evening, but this guy I only water, every other week, a little bit, maybe once a week. We'll say on 8 to 10 days on average. It's dropped some of its foliage, older foliage down here at the bottom, but it's still putting out plenty of new growth. It's just conserving its energy because of the heat, but it just goes all the way up there. I cut it back in the wintertime to here, which actually then was down here somewhere. I chickened out. I meant to cut it down to 3 feet, but I was a wuss and I cut it higher, and now it's too tall. So I'm going to take it down a little bit today. I was going to wait till the weather cooled off, but I think it can handle it. Now, kind of looks like crap, but I have no doubt it's going to bounce right back. How I chose how far down to trim was where I saw some new growth coming up. It's going to come out of all these little nodes. So there's definitely going to, see, there's even a little bit on this guy right here. There's none on this one, but I'm sure it's going to come up in those little nodes. It'll bounce right back. I'll give it a little extra water this week. We'll be good. Now we have all this wonderful and nutritious moringa to enjoy. My plan is to dry part of it and then to use some of it tonight in dinner. Hiya, Bill. Normally I'd do this processing part outside, but like I said, it's stupid hot out there, so I am gonna be smart and do this indoors. Alright, now that I've got them separated from the main branches, we have two piles. This one is the older leaves. They're starting to yellow a little bit. These are going to go towards being dried because they're already on their way. So I'm just going to stick them in this mesh bag that I have and let them dry. And then once they're dry, I'll strip the leaves off. This is the fresher, newer growth, and I want to use this fresh. So this is going to go into our pesto tonight. Strip the leaves off. It's kind of like prepping thyme for cooking. You just go the opposite direction and zip them right off. Ta-da! This is way more moringa than I'm going to need for tonight, so I'm just going to set aside maybe a cup's worth packed for tonight's dinner and vacuum seal and freeze the rest for a later date. That's all done, we can finally get to cooking. So you're probably wondering why just this much moringa. Well, that's for a couple reasons. One, while I appreciate that superfood qualities and nutritional value, I honestly am not a huge fan of the flavor. I mean, it's okay, it's not bad. Kind of grassy and with a little bit of horseradishy burn at the end. So I'm not wild about using a ton. It's more of like an enhancer. Also, I believe I've read somewhere that too much all at once can cause some, we'll say, some digestive disturbances, so we don't want that. The main part of our pesto is actually spinach. Also healthy and good for you. You can use kale if that's your bag, but I'm going to go with spinach. And then, of course, we're going to add some basil. Also trucking along in this heat, but none quite as much as this Mrs. Burns lemon basil. I've got 3 kinds going here. This one, there's a Thai basil over there, and then your classic Genovese back there. But this lemon basil, I have been cutting off of it for weeks now, and it just comes back 3 times as strong. So I'm going to take a little bit. I got a nice big handful of that lemon basil from the garden, and it's going to be a wonderful addition. Now I've just got this wee little food processor, so I'm going to have to do this in 2 batches, starting with just a hefty handful of that spinach, about like that, and a big bunch of the moringa leaves, and some of our basil, and then we're out of garlic, but normally I'd throw a couple garlic cloves in here. I have garlic greens in the garden right now, so I'm going to sub those in. Good bunch of salt. And a little squeeze of lemon. Almost forgot the most important part. Enough olive oil to kind of get it to cooperate. You also are going to need some Parmesan, or if you want to keep it vegan, put a tablespoon or 2 of nooch in there to get that tangy parm flavor. I'm going to do that just because why not? The other main ingredient in pesto is pine nuts, but in this case I am going to sub in hemp hearts. Why? Well, they're about the same price as pine nuts, stupid expensive, but these provide some protein, and yeah, see, 10 grams for every 3 tablespoons, so I'm going to put a 1/4 cup in there, so that's going to add some protein to our pesto. Also, I've been getting this at Costco for about 12 bucks. So it actually works out, I think, probably cheaper per ounce than pine nuts. And I'm going to do it after the blending part because they're already so small, they're like chopped up pine nuts. So we don't want them to be like a paste. We still don't want to be little nubbins.